Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, on location. As you can see, I'm in the hotel room. I got the USB mic. I brought some of my comics with me. I'm serious about this shit, guys. And of course, we got Chris sitting all, comfortable at home, where he normally is. What's going on, man?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good. As always, I must say, my co-host Chris. Yes, thank you for doing this as always. And yeah, I know, as I mentioned, I'm on location and recording from the hotel room here on a work trip at the moment. I got my cup of water, of course, supplied by the hotel sink and the plastic cups that they give you. I was able to have a couple of drinks, of course, but unfortunately nothing here in the hotel room. So as Chris is just gobbling down that fucking tall can right there. Hope you're enjoying that, bud. But yeah, welcome back, everybody. This is the weekly comic book review show that we do here, where we talk about the comics that we've read every week. And we come here and we give you guys a review on them. We let you know what we thought of it. We normally show off comic book art as well, but unfortunately, because I am on the road, I was unable to put that together for tonight's show. So it'll be a little bit different than usual. So no spoilers in terms of at least the artwork. But we can, we'll talk about the art. We'll get into that as well in some of these books. You gotta have to use your imagination this time, or go pick up these books for yourself and check them out. And if you're afraid of spoilers, as always, guys, be forewarned. We are going to be talking about what happens in some of these books. It is not an episode of Late Night Chat. It's Comic Shop Talk, so I got to change that banner. Of course, though, if you want to see Chris on the Late Night Chat Network, make sure to check out our most recent episode. Go check out the Late Night Chat Network, our sister channel, of course, where, we kind of spun out of. And basically, Chris was on our newest episode, kicking off our summer schedule. And if you guys are into music, it was a great episode. We did a kind of whole big music battle with all of the co-hosts over there. Chris is shaking his head disappointment because he was outed very early in the battle, I must add, but as was I. I think Chris took me down with him purposely after he got out. The votes were not going my way, guys. But if you want to see Chris in another setting, it was a good time. At least I enjoyed myself. I don't know about Chris, but we had him on with the rest of the co-hosts over at the Late Night Chat Network. And stay tuned. We might see Chris throughout the summer over there as well. We might actually have to bring some of this comics talk over to the Late Night Chat Network and show them, what we're all about over here. So that's why I had to change this banner in the background here. Of course, this is Comic Shop Talk, but check out the Late Night Chat Network, though. There's good stuff we do over there as well, guys. All right, so we're on episode 80 here today. I'm all out of whack here. I'm not putting up the banners. I don't know what's going on. I brought the equipment. I'm on the road, but apparently this whole setting's throwing me off, Chris. Okay, we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of June 7th, 2023. I'm all over the place. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Usually it's better than this. And spoiler warning, as I already mentioned. All right, Chris.
All right. Cheers, and let's talk comics.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks. I just had to stick it to me once again. All right. First up on the docket. First up on the docket here today, we got Dark Knights of Steel 11, guys. This one got a little bit of water damage on it, unfortunately, during my travel. It's all this water I've been drinking, apparently. So, anyways, what'd you think of this one, Chris?
That's another good issue. Everything's all coming together. Everybody's all on the same page. Nice little twist at the end. The art's great for this one. It's the only thing that's killing this series is just the timing of it. It's freaking taking forever for every issue to come out. If you ever get this in a trade, or if this ever comes out in a trade or all in one, I think it'd be a great read.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, me personally, I'm going to wait for that oversized hardcover, hopefully collected in this whole 12-issue series so far, because I doubt this is the end. Not only does it not say next issue is the end, like, because sometimes it says to be concluded at the end of these issues. It literally just says next, and then like they tell you the title of the next issue. There's no way they're wrapping up this thing in 12 issues. I mean, yeah, they're gonna wrap up maybe this story, but I think there's gonna be another mini series in this world. It seems like it's a lot of trouble to have gone through just to have it end on this note. Personally, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they're going to
Yeah, if they
continue?
continue the series, I'll keep on reading it. They're bringing in, they bring in the Phantom Zone in this one.
Yeah.
That was an interesting little twist there. And I like all the characters. All the characters, just kind of the same but different. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, I liked how Bruce and Kal-El there in this issue, they finally, have now found out the secrets about each other, the fact that they're brothers, and they were able to kind of reunite in this. And even Bruce kind of went back on some of his ways here and actually was going to free some of the prisoners that he's in prison in the dungeons prior to this point. And, because he had mistreated a lot of people for whatever reason, it seemed like. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of people coming to doing good things at the end of this, basically almost at the end of this series here. And, they reunite him and Alfred, or Martian Manhunter, essentially, right? It was some good moments in this. I think it was about time to get to some of these moments, and I look forward to the conclusion in the next issue, at least of this maxi series. I doubt it's the end though, but yeah, I agree with you. It was a solid issue. So,
yeah, I give it an easy 4.
same.
Even 4.25 even.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Good issue, yeah. Next up, we got The Ambassadors, number 6. I think we've been reading this digitally the whole way through. This was the conclusion, once again, as we predicted, not the conclusion of this miniseries, but not the conclusion of this story, because basically the whole team was finally formed at the end of this. What do you think of this last issue of this miniseries?
Yeah, if this is teasing a new or a spin-off into a new, permanent series or something, I think I'm down for it. This
Yeah.
one was, everything's coming together now. They finally, got a story. It's not just an origin story of a new ambassador. So, kind of the main story, I guess, is being teased here or being drawn out. So I'm down for that. I thought it was pretty good. I'm starting to like some of these characters too. I don't know about that Australian guy. He had a bit of a swerve there.
Yeah, that was interesting. We literally just talked about that guy the last issue. That was funny. I don't know if that's Mark Miller, uh, sticking it to a lot of the very PC liberal folks or something, because he kind of, the old man in this, as we mentioned last issue, I think the whole reason it seemed like he got given the superpowers is because he's like, oh, I'm coming out of the closet now, and I want to teach my Republican son a lesson or whatever. And then the son comes to him at the end of this issue. He's like, oh, Dad, he's like, listen, I don't really like what you are or what you're doing, but I accept you, like you're my father and all this. And he's just like, what? No, I'm not gay, man. I was just fucking with that woman. I was just screwing with her so she would give me superpowers. I'm 70 and look how great I am. I'm just like, I was like, Jesus. He's like, I was just saying what these idiots wanted to hear, right? So I think that was really interesting, man. I thought that was quite a swerve, yeah, so to speak. And I kind of liked the other guy too that showed up. That what the hell was he, like British or what? The other dude that showed up that like
Is he kind of like the original ambassador or something?
Yeah, so we seen him literally in the first issue when he walked out of that bar and he like fucking killed a bunch of people or whatever, right? In this, he finally shows up in this one, and I think he's British or something, because he was talking shit about the flag being on his costume.
Oh
At
yeah,
the
that
end
guy
of
from the Wales or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I really liked that guy, and he was, I guess, the prototype of the hero that they kind of were experimenting on prior to these guys, essentially, right? And even the team leader came through at the end and got
Oh yeah,
arrested.
when she had that one punch on that guy and they freaking knocked the skeleton out of his body.
She's like, "Whoops! Like, I didn't mean to do that."
Yeah, I go, he said he was invulnerable, so I thought I had to put a little extra oomph in it.
So yeah, this was a strong departure to the series, yeah. And I think like Matteo Scalera, I'm a huge fan of the artist on this issue. So it was pretty awesome that he anchored this whole, like, this whole series being like there's a different artist every issue. If they come back with another iteration of this and he puts like another great 6 artists on her, I'm in 100%. Even if they don't, if they just pick one artist, yeah, I know we were kind of questionable this whole time. Maybe not questionable. We're just kind of like, we need a little bit more. We need a little bit more every issue, right? But then by the time this oversized issue, this last one dropped, I was just like, okay, yeah, now that the team is finally together and it ended on such a
Yeah, they have
strong
an
note.
enemy. They're fighting. Like I thought their first team mission to stop a tidal wave. I thought
Yeah,
that was kind of hokey, though. I don't know how they stop it with those boats, but the way they
yeah,
stopped it seemed, I don't know, a little out of it. But anyways, other
yeah,
than that, I thought it was a good issue.
yeah. Same. So what'd you give it out of 5?
Yeah, I give this 4 out of 5 too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree. All right, Chris, Venom number 20.
Venom number 20. Ooh, let me try and dig that cover up. Oop. Oh, there it is. There we go. Venom number 20. So at least this one's focused more on Eddie Brock. And this series has been kind of crazy. I think the last time we saw Eddie Brock, he was in like some nether realm or something, trying to fight his way back. So this one basically starts out, I think, with the Life Foundation, and they have Eddie's skull from when he died in the earlier issues. And basically, they're just, they want to make sure he's dead. But I guess there's still, some DNA on in there, and whatever Eddie's powers as when he was a symbiote or wherever he was in that nether realm, he was able to regenerate himself from from his skull. So Eddie's back on Earth in this timeline as himself. And it's a bit of like almost a Terminator homage there when he kind of escapes from this Life Foundation facility. And then, he's on his way to track somebody down, so you don't know who he's trying to track down. And then when he finally gets to some town there, he has some run-in with some local bike gangs. He has some, they have some tough talk between each other. And at the end, you find out he's going to be facing off against Bedlam, so which is him. So that's, it's kind of the story's picking up again. Once they get away from this Dylan Brock stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the story's pretty decent. So I like that. I like this issue. And then some teasing some of the next few issues. I know there's Doom and Venom on the cover. I'm just
Oh,
hoping
nice.
it's Eddie Brock and Doom, not
Yeah,
Dylan.
yeah. That does sound like fun. Yeah, it sounds like it's off. That's some interesting stuff going on actually with the Bedlam stuff. Nice.
Yeah, so
Cool.
I just find a good issue again. Once they get back to Eddie Brock, and I'd give this one, another 4. I thought a lot of the comics were good this week.
I agree. Actually, that's probably you're gonna be hearing me give a lot of 4s out this week too. I just want to point that out. Yeah, you're right. I think this was a strong week actually, and it was nice because I read a lot of my stuff while traveling on the plane and in the hotel room. So it was nice to have these comics with me this weekend. So yeah, absolutely good stuff. Captain America: Sentinel of Liberty number 13. Read this digitally. I'm just bringing up some stuff on the tablet right now as I kind of look over it. Although I will say one of the themes this week that I did experience in a couple of the titles is there was some weak art, like some weak fill-in artists, I think, in some of these things this week. But otherwise, I think it was a strong week of issues. That being said, this wasn't that great. I don't think the artist that was that great on this issue. This is Alina Aerofiva, who I'm not even familiar with. But there's one more issue to go in this crossover, which I haven't been much of a fan of. And I think the Omega issue is next, which is going to basically wrap everything up. And they've already announced that these guys are done after this. I think they're going to be done with after this event, and then they're putting out that 700 issue or whatever you were talking about, the celebration Captain America issue. It's some oversized one, and then I think they're relaunching in September with like a new number 1 Captain America. They just announced like a new team and book recently, which I might be interested in. But yeah, this was fine. I mean, this is the issue where they picked up after the aftermath of kind of Sam Wilson, cleaning his clock in the last issue, and so in this issue he kind of, they make amends and he admits that he's right about, him being frustrated about his son, and his mind's all fucking clouded by everything going on and the shit with Bucky. And so like, what ends up happening in the next issue, who knows, but by the end of this one, Bucky, there's some interesting Bucky and Natasha stuff going on, the Black Widow. But at the on the last page, we get a werewolf character who it's too much glare, but it basically like, if werewolf creatures in this other dimension that they're fighting all these people in, and that might make a bunch of people groan, because I think anybody who remembers the 90s may remember Capwolf. So the fact that there's even a werewolf showing up in the fucking pages of this event on the last page with the Omega issue just looming overhead is not a good sign. I don't know what the hell's going on, but anyways, I get this issue 3.5. I think it's been okay, the event, but it hasn't been anything special. I actually think it's a shitty way to end these people's run, which I think otherwise has been pretty solid. So
Yeah, if they're thinking of relaunching in September anyway, it sounds like they should have just finished after that last arc, which sounded really good. And then, just give Cap the summer off and, we'll work on the relaunch.
yeah,
This
no,
just seems all out of Captain America's realm. He's working about his son, and he's in like some crazy dimension, and like some werewolf showing up.
it,
It's
it's
not really his milieu.
it's not only that, it's like, I mean, yeah, those are no, but the sun and the other dimension and all that, those and the wolf, like those are all things from other Captain America runs. I don't know
I know,
why. I don't know
not
why
his
they would.
strongest stuff.
No, and the fact that they brought it all into the end to this event, which in terms of tone, like for the rest of the series, doesn't match up at all. I feel like with any of the other stuff that they had going. I mean, the other stuff was solid because and felt familiar because it was all like a bunch of Captain America conspiracy type stuff going
Yeah,
on, right? Which again, that speaks to a lot of the comics of Captain America, but like shady like organizations and stuff working with the government and whatever, right? But like I just don't think this is a well they needed to go back to bring his son back and bring
yeah,
Dimension Z
for
back. And
sure. Put
yeah,
the
I don't
story
know.
on ice. The Omega sounded good. When it was in the solicitation. Bucky Barnes might be a double agent. See how it goes. But then once they open up that Dimension Z, it's like, what the heck? I don't know. I'm out.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great. So, all right. So next up, we got Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, not Once Upon a Time World, as I wrote here. Oh boy. It's okay. It's like I said, I'm
It's that air.
traveling.
It's that air up there.
Yeah. Yeah, up in Sudbury. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, number 6. Yeah, this is the start of a new arc. It's a 15 issue series, and the first arc was the first 5, and this one's going to be the next 5, and then the last arc's going to be the last 5 issues, and every 5 issues is going to be drawn by a different artist. This one's drawn by Leila DeLuca. And if you want to talk about a huge total shift in this series, this is of course the Jason Aaron creator-owned series. They time jump. So these kids that were together in the first 5 issues that kind of were making their way through the world with one another and that were like teenagers, and we're slowly kind of seem like have a growing feelings for one another, let's say. In this issue, they're just straight up fucking, like straight up fucking all over the place, and because it's at the end of the world, they're showing all these different scenes of them fucking different locations, like on top of mountains and like in like I don't know, the wastelands. There's just a lot of nudity in this issue, and it's like a rated hard R issue. Like you don't see an insertion, but you see dicks flopping, tits just fucking out and about. Like it's and then there's even a point where in the issue they're talking about how much like they love each other, but amongst their travels running into other people that have been surviving this like end of the world scenario. They end up having basically orgies with people and exploring their feelings with the opposite sex, even these two people. So I don't know. It's a very weird total shift, and I was not expecting that from this issue, but it was interesting, and the art was good. So I got to give it like I honestly, just for the shocking factor that it's such a shift in tone and story for this start of this new arc than the last one, I got to give it like a 4 out of 5. There wasn't much else that went on in it except for them talking about like their sex adventures through this end of the world or whatever they're doing. But like, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know where they're going to end up, because in the first arc they kept giving us these future like scenes of them like all fucked up. I guess it's gonna be the last arc of the story. Like the main dude has like he's like half robot, and the woman looks nothing like she does here. I think she's got to be like in her 20s here, so she looks great. And then like in the next one, and she's like really old and haggard in that last arc. That so I don't know. I'm interested to see how they get to this like this future scenes that they've kind of been teasing in the first arc, right? So yeah, it's still interesting, well written, and I like the artist that they picked for this next arc, and I think that it's good that they didn't use the first artist for this arc so far, because that wouldn't have been it's not appropriate. I think the first artist for this type of story. So anyways, all right, next up we got Invincible Iron Man #7. What'd you think of this?
Let's see. I think I'm so used to having the pictures up there. I just read this one online, and I think it was okay. I remember enjoying it. But one thing that's getting me about Iron Man now is that he spent all his money to try and get all those weapons of mass destruction sort of off the playing field. But then he left his company exposed, and now it seems those Iron Man Sentinels are just running amok in all the other issues. And I don't know. It sounds like he would have been, being the genius that he is, he would have had these patents locked down or something, or he would have been able to protect his company from that Fei Long, whatever, hostile takeover. But other than that, I think the issue is good. I think here they break into one of the Sentinel factories and they take one on. Him and Jimmy, or what's that, War Machine.
There you go. I had a few art prepared. Actually, I didn't have everything prepared for today, but now that you mentioned it, I did have this issue ready here for you. So yeah, so Fei Long's basically doing his thing with the Sentinels in this issue, as you mentioned. And yeah, War Machine gets taken down at the end of this as a result of Tony kind of getting him to stick his neck out there for him and help out. And he's struggling with his alcoholism and his personal issues by the end of this issue. And he starts slamming his fucking hand into like it looks like some of the armor fucking his hand up at the end of this issue, right? He's in a bad place, and he's he's still journaling though, Chris. I mean, that's it's worth mentioning.
Another thing that we've spoken earlier that doesn't ring true. And I thought it was a nice swerve there. We thought, Tony Stark was an Iron Man, but then it would end up being Jim Rhodes, and Tony Stark is in the stealth suit, trying to figure out what's going on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole Fei Long thing with what's his name too was pretty interesting. What the hell's his name? The guy that's with Orcus, who killed that person. Who?
Yeah, I'm liking all this. I am liking those Iron Man Sentinels, though, and how they are running through all the, through a few different issues. I think that's interesting. And they look cool.
This had to have been done before, right? Because if it hasn't, I don't know how it hasn't. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think they kept the Sentinels on their own. Now the only twist, like the Sentinels are pretty much just the same. Now they just look like Iron Man.
Yeah, it's still cool though. But like, right?
Yeah,
like, I just
think it's great.
Iron Man and X-Men aren't really two books I always feel like cross over. So the fact that Jerry Duggan's been writing both this and the X-Men, and kind of making this overarching story from both titles, I think has been really interesting, man. Like I now that the X-Men stuff is infiltrating the Iron Man book, yeah, I don't know, man. I really like that stuff. Like I'm like, has this happened before? I'm like, someone's had to have done Sentinels made out of Iron Man armor. And if they haven't, at least I've never read it. I'm like, that's like a smart idea. Like it's such an obvious thing that you should do, right? Like, because even when we're going to talk about it in a bit, but even in the X-Men book, when they're fighting these things in the X-Men book this week, they're like, holy fuck, these are the hardest Sentinels we've ever had to destroy. What's going on, right? They're like, it's a giant fucking Iron Man, right? Yeah. So like, yeah, it's bad. Man, this is not good. So what'd you give this?
I give it a 3.75.
Yeah, I agree. This issue in particular, 3.75. But this has been a really strong series, I think, still.
Yeah, I might be looking for some of these back issues. I think I'm picking this up starting in 9. The solicitations, is that what Tony Stark has become like the freaking Black King on the Quiet, maybe not on the Quiet Council, but of the Hellfire Club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I pre-ordered the trade already for this. I haven't been picking up the issues, but I pre-ordered the first volume. So yeah, it's been good. Next up, we got Daredevil number 12. I actually got the art for this one here too. So what'd you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, well, now that's coming, the news is out that the Chip Zdarsky's run is ending. I thought this was a pretty good issue. The I guess it might be more of a, wouldn't say an action patchwell issue, but the fight between Elektra and Daredevil, I thought that was good. I'm not sure about what happened at the end of the fight, and then him floating around in the afterlife to do what he wants to do. But I guess the idea is there that he wants to kill himself to be able to go down to hell to fight the beast. Which I don't know. It's kind of an out there idea, but it seems to be working for this. What do you think?
I actually think the second half of the issue was this issue saving grace. This whole start of the issue I felt was kind of like boring, and then yeah, him and Elektra fighting again. He forced her to kill him essentially, or like forced her hand literally, and he kind of met up with one of his old partners essentially in this. That was all cool and everything, but like. I was like, yeah, okay, but then I actually liked the whole second half where he ended up going to hell, and like there's a reason as to why he's going to hell, and then the whole thing with his father and like his whole emergence as that new white suit, like the godly kind of suit that he's got at the end of this. I actually thought it ended on a really strong note. I was like, oh fuck! I'm like, I got to see what happens next in this one now. So I think the second half really saved this issue for me. I thought it was really interesting, and with only a couple of issues to go, if this is what they're going to choose to end on, I'm interested in it. I liked this whole scene of him descending down the staircase into hell and everything like that. And yeah, this costume is sick. Like I was like, okay, I can't wait for the next one. So, it's like 2 more issues to go. This is what, 12, right? Yeah, 14 is the last issue that Zdarsky's doing. So, I'm interested to see how this goes, because I'm sure he's gonna something's gonna happen and he's gonna basically come back to life after this, I would think, right? But still, I think it's a good conclusion to this story. What'd you give this out of 5?
Yeah, I give it a 3.75. I just didn't like the dying part. That's all.
Okay, interesting. And like I said, I think that was the interesting part of the issue for me. So I'm also going to give it 3.75 because, like I said,
I didn't mind him in hell. I just didn't like him that he had to die.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah. So, but I also got to give it 3.75. I felt like I said, the second half was stronger than the first. So I'm very interested to see what happens next. All right. So next up, we got Fantastic Four number 8. Do I have the art for this one? I don't know. I had a few, but I didn't finish it. So I was like, it was either load up the ones that I have for this episode or just not do any. So you guys can get a few pieces of art for this episode for sure now. Listen, guys, time is of the essence. We had to put this episode out, right? And I'm on the road again. Okay, Fantastic Four number 8. I like this one. This is a straight I got you. This is a very strange issue, actually. A weirdly fun issue. And this issue, they're basically, again, this is like Twilight Zone-esque type tales that they're telling in this series. And I haven't quite been clicking with it. There's always something I feel like missing from this series for me so far. Almost so like that I've continued to say, maybe I won't read it anymore. But this one was really good. The Case of the Mystery Menace, as you can see on the cover here. Basically, they're all hanging out now at Ben's farmhouse or whatever, and they're doing their thing. And all of a sudden, Alicia and Sue are like, okay, we're going to go to the mall. We're going to grab some stuff. And, everyone's asking for certain things if they can grab stuff for them. They're like, we're going to go into town. And, it's like a cottage area. So it's like, probably the only kind of area to shop in this town. So they go there and they're shopping. And then all of a sudden, like some woman's kind of weird in the store. And she mentions how she's been there forever. And they see all these lanes that are not occupied. And they're like, where are all the other employees? Why isn't there other people working at these other cash registers? You got like 10 cash registers in here. You're the only one working it. And there's like a huge fucking lineup in the store. And she's like, oh, well, I'm the only one that does it. It's just me and whomever that runs the back of the store. And I just do the cash here. And They're like, that's strange. And then like they're walking through the mall and they start noticing other weird things going on. And then they see some other customer that they saw from the store previously, and he doesn't know who they are, and he claims that he never shopped there. And then they go back to the store, and the store's closed, and there's like a sign up saying that they've been closed down. And she's like, well, how the hell is this possible? And then she calls this woman who's supposed to be the person who runs the store, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, people keep calling me, and that this number, like the number that they have listed, so it's all these weird things are happening, right? So then all of a sudden they go back home, and they find out that Reed and the thing are basically now being mind controlled, as well as like a bunch of people from the town by like some, I don't know, big rocky like sludge monster with some like weird name. Like he kind of looks like a big like Clayface type creature, like the dude that's on the cover of this issue. And this guy's just like mind controlling this town. So I don't know, it's really fucking weird. And then Johnny, basically he's all like mind washed as well, like brainwashed as well, and he makes like a flame member of the Fantastic Four, because they're like, oh, where's Reed and Ben? And he's like, what are you talking about? Who's Reed and Ben? And now he's already brainwashed. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. And he's like, oh, it's just he's like, yeah, but there's four of us, Fantastic Four, right? He's like, yeah, there's Flamo. And then like he like makes a fucking dude that's like made out of fire, and he's just standing beside him. It's like, it's my buddy Flamo. It's literally like Johnny. It's like a counterpart to Johnny. It's literally just his, like, he makes out of his fire. I'm like, this is some weird stuff, man. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Then like this big monster is making them parade him through the town. I don't know, man. It was wonderfully weird, though. I gotta say, like, it was actually quite enjoyable, and how weird of an issue it was. And like they've been all these mostly one and done type Twilight Zone-esque type stories leading into that last issue for the anniversary, which of course they had to make a Doom issue. But this was, I think, one of the stronger issues. It said to be continued at the end of the, but I got to give it like a 4 out of 5, just because it was so strange and I actually had fun with it. But yeah, next up we got Sins of the Salton Sea #1. This is from AWA Comics, which is a publisher. It's not a more up and coming, newer publisher. It's written by Ed Brisson, who I'm a fan of. This is a 5-issue miniseries. He kind of does a lot of crime comics stuff that I like. He's Canadian. And the artist on it is C.P. Smith, who I feel like I've seen somewhere before, but I got to tell you, the art was horrendous on this issue. It's really bad art. I thought this was some of the worst art I've seen in a comic this week. So much so that I'm going to give it a bad rating based on that. And I kind of want to read the next issue because I felt the story was interesting. It was kind of like one of those heist gone wrong type stories. Some people got a tip about stealing some money from like a transport truck that's like I don't think they specifically say it's them, like a Brinks truck or something like that, but it's something along those lines. They were transporting money for whatever reason, and they end up tracking the truck down and getting into like a gunfight with the people that bust out of the actual back of the truck, or that are trying to protect it. And they end up taking them down, but they lose a lot of people in the process. But then when they actually get to open the truck to actually get all the money, what's in there is like some people that were like kidnapped or something. And then the tip that they got apparently was a bad tip. And the person that told them this was actually trying to get someone to help him out, get those people out of the truck. But then like shit goes like tits up at the end of the issue. And like I said, a lot of people got killed. And now like whoever was left out of the group is now had to drive off with these like people that were like abducted. So, and then he's being chased now. So like it kind of really went in a lot of interesting directions, even for a heist story that I didn't see going. So like it's good, but the art I didn't feel was great at all. And that's a real shame. So whether or not I read the next issue, I probably will. Just like I said, I like Ed Brisson. I like the story, but I didn't like the artist on this one. So I read it digitally. I'm probably not going to double dip it. I'm probably not going to pick up the collection of this just because I think the art's bad, but I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I would give it lower, but I think the story was really good. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. And then lastly, Hairball #3. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 more issues to go of this. This is about that crazy killer cat, like supernatural cat or whatever. Like And in this issue, the girl who is her family, she got separated from her family because the cat like fucked with her family. She's been living with her aunt or something since last issue. In this issue, she successfully seems to have somehow killed this cat. But by the end of it, they show her older now, still talking to the psychiatrist as years have passed. But now she feels remorse and she feels that the cat is like some Egyptian god or something like that, and that she fucked up, and that the cat was actually protecting her from her toxic as fuck family. And she now she's like convinced that she like has like some karmic kind of like like she's fucked up her future as a result of like messing with this cat or whatever. So I don't know, it's again I didn't think it was going to go in this direction. I found that interesting, and I'm looking forward to the next issue because of the kind of the change up, let's say, at the end of this one in tone. So I'll give it a 3.75 out of 5. And what else next here? Peacemaker tries hard, Chris. I got my issue right here. I think you read this one.
Yeah, I just read this one online, and that's no, I'm loving this story here. I'm like, or like, at least the tone of the story. I don't know if it's just more because it's it's almost like the HBO Peacemaker out there. And with here, he goes on an adventure, I guess, with that gorilla guy, and they're trying to be friends the whole time. And I think Peacemaker feels like he's made that big connection with them. And what are they? Is this where they go into that base or something, and they kind of fight those Union guys? And the one guy's on his break, and he's like, "Well, it's my break time."
Yeah, that's right. And there's like another guy, he's like drilling. It's so stupid. That is
And, then
literally what
you're
happened.
jamming out with that monkey there, or the ape, and he says, "Hey, buddy, I'll have that party. You want to come?" And the ape's like, "Oh yeah, I'm all down for it." He's like, "Oh hell yeah, this is great." And then at the end, they freaking just, I don't know. You can talk about the ending if you want there, but I thought it was a
So
good issue.
sad. I felt so bad for him at the end. And yeah, like again, it is straight up the tone of the show. But if you were a fan of the show, like we were, I think you'd like this. And like, they're doing things in the comic maybe they couldn't do in the show. Like, and yeah, Monster Mala.
Or even it's the helmets there, where he kind of opened the closet there and he chooses his helmets, and would he take the fuck beam or something?
Yeah.
And then
Remember
when
he
he hits
talks
it,
about,
it fucks him up, and that's why it's called the fuck beam.
remember there's the one that's called like the shrinking ray or something like that.
Yeah,
Shrinkage. It's called shrinkage. He's like, why is this called shrinkage? He's like, oh yeah, because you make the guy's dick be like he was in the pool all day or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
shrink.
Like he goes, "Oh, you can beat that guy, no problem."
Okay, I'm glad it's not just me that found this really funny because I had a good time with this as well. Yeah, this is one of the better things I read this week amongst the good week of comics. I was laughing reading this. I'm like, this is fucking hilarious. Yeah, it's called it's just funny because even here he's like, well, he's like, what if I take a flamethrower and I really need freeze ray? I don't know. I just love how he's like trying to decide which helmet to take, and they're all like ridiculously sized helmets. He's like, imagine you're throwing hands and suddenly your dick and balls start turtling up inside of you. Yeah, man, it's a laugh, right? This one, yeah, I really like this one a lot. And like at the end too, like after the Union guys, there's like that old man that he doesn't want to fight. He's like, really, I gotta fight this dude. And the dude's like, what did I come over here for? And he's like, oh yeah, he like busts out this big death ray.
That was good too.
Kyle Starks is funny. Humor is hard to do in comics, and it's very subjective. But like this Kyle Starks guy, man, I always find this shit really funny, man. Yeah, so like I think he's the perfect guy to be writing this book. So he's able to mix like the action and the even as we saw in that other Where Monsters Lie series, the horror aspects of things. Like he can really do different things with humor too, which I think is really important. Like you can't just have straight up jokes, right? So Yeah, no, this was just a hell of a lot of fun, this book. And the art's great too. Yeah, I like this title. I'm glad I'm buying it because I've been buying it in issues, so it's a good one. Would you give this out of 5?
Yeah, this is what we talked about. I give this a 4.25. I thought it was great.
Nice. Yeah, I give it a 4.25 as well. Absolutely. All right, next up we got X-Men 23. Got my issue right here. Yeah, 4.2.5, maybe even 4.5. I'd probably give it a 4.35. Close to 4.5. There you go. What'd you think of this?
Another sick cover, like we're talking about those Iron Man Sentinels. They're freaking awesome. And I like the way they use them here, the way Orcus kind of sets them out as human savior, but, meanwhile, they're just out to freaking kill mutants. Isn't in this one that starts out, there's a fire in a building, and then 2 firemen are kind of trapped. And then the Sentinel kind of pops in there to save them, and then it sees one of the firemen's a mutant. It's about to freaking fry him. And then the X-Men show up and do their thing, and they get their ass handed to them, I guess, by those Tony Stark Sentinels. And yeah, it's good stuff. And I think even at this issue too, near the end, I think they did mention about Marvel Girl dying. So that was nice to see that crossover from Spider-Man and at least that storyline being acknowledged here. So I guess some things are up with that part too.
Yeah, I also like the fact that with that scene, like you see Emma walking the beach with the Kingpin because now he apparently is married to someone who's on Krakoan soil, so he's living there. So
Yeah.
he and she basically says, don't fuck around or else we'll kick you out, essentially. And then Cyclops shows up. He's like, hey, what's going on? Single? You heard about it? And it was like, I have no interest in you right now. He's like, oh. He pretty much says like something along those lines. He's just like, and like, he shows up and he's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey.
Yeah. He's got like his beach shirt open. He's like, hey, what's going on? Just like, it's like too much going on right now. I have no interest.
Yeah, I got no time for this.
And earlier in the issue, I really like the fact that it seems like he's rocking like the old school fucking like 90s Cyclops suit in this. I don't know why that is, like why that's happening now, but I'm down with it. Like I was like, oh, that's like the best Cyclops outfit. It looked like kind of reminded me of the 90s one, this issue. This was, I mean, if I had to compare the two because they're kind of connecting a lot of the Iron Man and X-Men stuff, this was the stronger of the 2 issues this week. I thought, again, this is just another really solid title consistently. Great issue.
Yeah, I'm liking what's going on here, and this, it's hyping me up for the Hellfire Gala, and it's hyping me up for this Fall of X because so many things are falling into place. Like this Orcus, it's Orcus, right? The name of that group that they're fighting.
Yeah,
got their shit together. It seems, this isn't like some AIM or whatever Hydra thing where they always kind of just fucking themselves over. Like these guys got a lot of I guess fires or sticks in the fire, let's say, because they've messed up they've messed up all that Krakoa medicine. Now they got these Iron Man Sentinels out there, and those things, they're turning the tide of the public's view of the mutants. So we'll see how things go. I'm looking forward to this. I thought it was a great issue too, and I'd give it a 4 for sure.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Yeah, read my mind. Next up, we got Shazam number 2. Yeah, do you remember this one very much? Do you want me to take the lead here? Or,
take the lead. I think I got a pretty good idea what happened in here, but
this is a title I really want to be enjoying more than I have so far. Like, I actually think the first issue was really strong. I think I gave that a good rating. This one was okay, I would say. Like, I don't know how interesting the story is and how much legs it has. The fact that he's just being a dick, like that's like what's going on essentially. Like he's overreacting and he can't control his anger issues, which I guess is something different.
Something's got to be doing this to him. He's not doing this himself.
No, I know, but I just don't know how interesting of a story this is. Like kind of like, and then obviously when you see Psycho Pirate.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought at the end you figure out why he's doing this now. Aren't the gods sort of all trying pulling his strings?
Yeah, that is what's revealed at the end there. But like again, like I just don't know. Like the gods being involved is interesting, but the fact that this is the actual like issue that he's having, let's say. Like, I guess it's new in the sense that everyone thinks it's gonna be all bright and shiny and smiley, and it's the Shazam book, and hey, you know what I mean? And like he's overreacting, and anger is coming out. And this is a guy who he's a fucking godlike power level, so he could essentially fuck people up really bad if he can't control his emotions, right? So I think, so yeah, maybe there is something to it. It is kind of interesting, I guess, but like, I don't know, it seems like a weird story to be telling to start off this series, honestly. And now the thing that really pissed me off though was after, because there was two epilogues or whatever at the end of this, and one of them was what you just said, they kind of revealed what's going on possibly, and then the other one was that Mary Marvel fucking fell into a deep sleep, and they're like, next month, Night Terrors. I'm like, you're really gonna sideline this book for the next 2 months, a title that just started, and like I'm already kind of wavering on whether or not I really enjoy the title. You know what I mean? Like, this is a bad move on their part. Like, I think Mark Waid is going to be the one who's writing the Night Terrors tie-in, but still, like, Dan Mora's not drawing it, which again, he can't draw out of the books. Guy already draws like 3 books a month, I feel like, but like, like it's, I really liked the dinosaur that showed up in this issue. That was kind of funny how the dinosaur showed up, and he's like, oh yeah, you didn't fill out these fucking.
Yeah, you can't mess around with these dinosaurs.
That was my favorite part about
immigration. It's almost like Men in Black or something, at the alien station there or something.
Yeah, that was fun. I really liked that. Yeah, I thought that was good. That was probably my favorite part about the issue. Everything else, I could take it or leave it, honestly. But it looked great. Dan Moore is still killing it. So what'd you give this out of 5?
I'll give it a 3.75. I did like it. I did like the reveal at the end, and the art is great still. It's bright. It's like you say, the dinosaurs there. I'm not a big fan of all the freaking the Shazam family. That crippled kid being all sad that he doesn't have his powers anymore, or all the other people kind of busted on Billy that he's not sharing his powers. It's not like he can control that, but otherwise, it's still good. But like this Night Terror stuff, man, I think DC's taking a big risk here. Like, basically, they're putting their whole universe on hold for 2 months.
Yeah.
Or however long this Night Terrors is going to run.
Yeah.
Put everybody to see what everybody's dreams are. And a lot of stuff seems to be happening too in some of these issues, and everything's going on pause. But anyway, that's another story.
I know. I just think it's the wrong move. Yeah, I think I'd still give it 3.75 too, even though I didn't love everything about this issue. Like you said, though, the art's solid. I did like that dinosaur stuff. So I just don't know if this whole like him losing his temper type story is. I need to see how much more meddling the gods are going to be up in this shit moving forward, right? So I think they got something there. I just rather them get there quicker, and the fact that
they should do something that's a little bit more menacing than losing your temper.
Yeah,
like you can pick up a car and throw it against the wall, or something where there's actually some danger involved, not just, I called you a name and oh my god, what a bad person I am,
Yeah, he's canceled. Yeah, that's kind of what the first issue felt like, and then this one, the swerve was that, there's Psycho Pirate. Of course, it's him doing this, which he definitely could, right? But he's, as proved in this issue, it's not him, right? So, yeah. So I'm going to continue reading it though. I need more, I think, than what they've given us so far. But this is it's all right. Next up, we got Batman 136. Got the art for this one here, and Balin Ortega is the artist on this issue. I thought this looked great, actually. What'd you think of this?
I thought it looked great too. It's great to see Batman back in freaking Gotham. I guess he's just touching base with everybody. And I thought it's a good issue. Nothing serious going on here, at least that I remember. Even nice seeing Batman with his family there, even though I hate the family. And this Ben Zural or whatever, looks like he's up to no. Or I guess you do go into a bit of history of whatever his name is. Zura Ben. Is there a Ben in there at all or no?
No, I don't think so. Zura Ben.
Anyways, I guess his psyche has been building, how Failsafe was created. And that's, I don't know, that Failsafe story is starting to fall apart a little bit now that he knows that Oswald is alive. But, wouldn't like Failsafe and all those bad computers, have to have a little bit more evidence than just some stories online that Batman killed somebody before you're activated. Well, that's another story.
I thought the artist did some interesting panels that you normally don't see of Batman. Like, there's a couple of points here where, like, for instance, he's getting his ass kicked by the Penguin's kid, which I don't know how the fuck this guy's so strong, but he's like, "Oh, I underestimated that one." And you basically see him like exasperated here, like when he's getting, and he comes up out of the water, and there's other panels where he's super bulky. Like the artist drew him like super bulky and kind of like wide and menacing. Like I actually thought there were some good action shots in this issue where I'm like, oh, we see so many Batman drawings and so many artists kind of do their take on him. I felt like this was one that I don't want to say we've never seen it like this, but it was really good. Like it was well done, and there was a couple of poses and scenes where I'm like, yeah, I don't know if we've ever really seen that kind of that look from Batman before. So yeah, there's some good stuff, and Catwoman looked great. I don't know. I hate the Bat Family stuff. I don't know how you like this. That was my favorite part about
Well,
this
I did
issue.
like it, but that's what I say. I liked it, even though I do hate the Bat Family. It was
I
still
just like
nice to have this in the book.
I just like finally like in the there's he's like in the moment he's like, oh, you know what, no, this is nice. Like even though he was tricked and forced into this situation that he doesn't
Yeah,
want to be in, he's like, oh, we're all having breakfast, this is nice. And then of course it ended on this note. It's like
yeah. You
the
think
Zur
you'd enjoy him more, like being everything that happened to him. Like he's been lost in some other dimension.
yeah
Gail safe just kicked his ass a while ago. You go, fuck, finally I'm back at home, see my, people that like me or I
yeah
like.
yeah
But anyway,
and it's Zuran R. Is there a Ben in there
Zurnard,
somewhere?
Ben. I'll just call him Ben from now on.
Zur Ben
Ben
or
over.
that's how we come up with the names of these episodes, guys. What'd you give this on a 5? How would you give this?
I'll still give it a 4. I was happy to have Batman back where he belongs and
Zur-
finish off with all that monkey business in the other universe.
I gotta give it like a 4.25. I thought this was a super strong issue with a good artist who we haven't really. I think she did the backup. She did the Catwoman backup. This artist, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and she killed this issue. So, Immortal X-Men number 12. Chris, what'd you think of this? I got my issue right here. This is actually, I think this is the last issue I think I've pre-ordered. Actually, I think I'm dropping this in physical releases. I was making cuts and this one didn't make the cut because I like the X-Men book way more than I like this book, but this has had some great issues along the way. So what do you think about this one in
I think
particular?
this is another great issue here. I
I
think
know.
it'd be tough to
Fucking
cut it on 13 when this 12 issue is so good.
every fucking time I went to like cut this book, that happened. And the actual time I do, I'm like, for fuck's sakes, I'm like, it's a good issue. Yeah, go on.
And like the thing I worried about this, with Colossus being a bad guy or doing bad things, I wasn't aware of sort of what's been going on with Colossus. I thought, they're just pulling another beast with them, but it seems that the Colossus is being controlled by a brother or something, or some writer that's controlling Colossus. And in this whole issue, he's basically trying to, he's hoping that everybody else can kind of see through whoever's controlling him because Colossus' mind is still in there. And I don't know if he can kind of reach out and kind of break through whatever's going on to kind of put out secret messages. But I thought it was good all the way through. And the stuff with Celine coming back, the Black Queen, I haven't seen much of her. I didn't think it was a big deal when she showed up, and I think she was there in one of the earlier issues where they fought her and put her out. Yeah, I can't go wrong with that. That's a page there.
Yeah.
And that's all good stuff, and everybody's kind of all disappointed in Colossus because he's basically kind of pulled a fast one on because he got 4 votes on there. And I guess the big reveal here is that they've decided to tell the world about, I guess, the timeline that they all experienced with the Sinister War.
Mm-hmm.
I guess humans aren't going to be too happy about that.
I don't know how we read that whole event, and somehow I think I just either I forgot or it went right over my head that this woman is Nathaniel Richards' wife or something. Like I didn't know that.
Mother Righteous or whatever.
Yeah,
Well, there's some good scenes that was in here too with him and with
yeah.
her and him.
Yeah, but it's not him. It's the guy that it's the Nathaniel Richards who thinks that he's the real
Yeah,
Cosmo, but he's not. And she's telling him otherwise. And she's from the future. And she's like, no, you're not Nathaniel. And like,
yeah.
and but like, was that talked about prior? It must have been, right? I can't
I
remember
don't
that.
really know what's going on with all these Sinisters and who's who and what's what, you
No,
know?
but the fact that she was his wife, I don't know if I caught that before.
Yeah.
Like, if it was
I didn't even
mentioned,
know he was married to begin with, so.
no, but he was, I think, in the past or
Yeah,
something. I don't, or maybe in the future because that's where she's from, right? I don't know. The timeline thing is it's a little. I'm not 100% clear on everything. Let's just say that, but like,
yeah.
it's interesting though. I'm
But it
still
does
interested.
make her a real power player with that, more than just someone that sometimes uses an accent and sometimes doesn't.
Yeah, I caught that too. Yeah, it's true. Well, it's the same like White Queen, right? She used to do the same shit, right? Or at least depending on who wrote her. Like sometimes they wrote her as a girl from Queens, other times she's fucking English royalty or something, British
Yeah.
royalty. I don't know. Anyways, so what'd you give this one out of
Yeah, I
5?
give this one a 4. I like this issue. It's a good one too
Same. It was a fucking good
for
issue.
a while.
I might have to buy the next
Because it
issue
has been
because
lacking in this series, but I think it's
uh,
back in business here for a little bit.
That's the thing with this one. You always get like a couple of so-so issues, and then you get a fucking banger of an issue, and then I'm just like, and then that's why like every other issue, I'm like, oh, maybe I should stop buying this one. And now I'm gonna probably have to buy the next one now, even though I didn't pre-order it because this was fucking good. This was good. So yeah. All right. Next up, we got Phantom Road #4. I guess I'll take the lead on this one. Chris
Yeah.
told me that he also read this as well. But he's just jumping in, I think, on this one. Did you not read anything previous to this?
No, just from what you talked about, and it was out there, so I thought I'd give it a quick read.
Yeah, I really liked I've been really liking this series, but again, I think jumping in on this one was the wrong issue to jump in on because I think there was a lot established prior to this one, and this one was just kind of continuing to move the story along slightly. So like jumping in on this one, sometimes it helps to jump in just randomly and it could get you
Yeah,
hooked. But not that this issue was bad, but this is probably, I would have to say, the least interesting of the issues so far in that sense. So if you're interested in anything that was going on in this, I would say maybe it might be worth going back and taking a look because yeah, this kind of basically in this one you catch back up with these people that are in the truck that are trucking this like weird artifact across like some into some weird dimension, and then you also get this stuff that I guess started last issue with this girl who got abducted, who's got some mysterious past that could or could not be connected to this whole thing that's going on. And the dude alludes to her father having been an FBI agent. And there's like all this other stuff going on that she doesn't know about. And he thinks she's playing stupid, but he's kind of like, okay, then find out for yourself. And he allows her to escape at the end of this, her abductor. And she comes across this file that reveals, I guess, all this shit that's going on possibly in her life that may be connected to this case with this supernatural stuff going on. And then you find out that this woman that's with the truck driver too may have an interesting past as well, let's say, of things we don't know about her also. And all those weird zombie like creatures show up at the end of this issue and it looks like they're fucked. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the next issue, but the way it ended was just like, yeah, they're not in a good position here. But yeah, I don't know. What'd you think of it?
yeah. I just got some questions about. So in the first few issues, like they were almost like in some sort of spirit world or purgatory world after some truck accident, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
maybe now with this, what was the project? A Project Jackknife or something?
Yeah, that's what they called it.
So maybe they're not. You know what I mean? Or like I don't know. And when they drive from one truck stop to another truck stop, do they almost kind of move into a different world type? Because I think in this one, then they have like 7 hours to get to the next truck stop, and then I don't know what
Mhm,
happens when you go move from one truck stop to another.
mhm. Yeah,
So
well,
I don't
that's
know. Maybe like it's interesting stuff in there,
mhm.
and
Well, that
there's room for a lot of swerves. It's almost like a lost sort of thing where nobody knows what's going on.
yeah, I know, I agree. I think you're definitely right about that, and I think it's been intriguing enough that it's kept me reading, but you do definitely sometimes leave reading the issue with more questions than you came in with,
Yeah.
though, right?
Because
So,
that
like,
stuff that's happening with like that agent that was locked up. That's happening in the real world, right? That's not in
yes,
this.
that's in the real world, yeah.
Okay.
and like these people were not in the real world, but yet at the same time, they've been crossing, they've been crossing over, and it seems whenever these zombie like creatures come about, that's when they kind of slip into like this purgatory like place. So like,
Yeah.
and again, like that weird artifact that they don't really know what
Yeah,
it
that
is,
thing that's in the
whether,
back of the truck or whatever, right?
yeah, that she tried to break when she hit with the hammer. Whenever someone touches it or something, they have like weird flashbacks to traumatic experiences, it
Yeah.
seems like, from their life. So yeah, yeah, a lot of questions still, but I'm in for the ride. I've been really enjoying this series. I think as a whole, this is not the best singular issue. I think everything that came prior to this was better, but I'm looking forward to the next one. So I'm invested in this story. So
Yeah, it's good stuff. Like, it's kind of thinking stuff and a whole lot of a bunch of theories that could be what's going on, but you never know.
what'd you give this out of 5?
I'll give it only a 3.5 though, because a lot of stuff was just over my head here.
Yeah, fair. I'll give it a 3.75. All right, and we got Adventures of Superman, John Kent, #4. I had to bring up the art for this one because, speaking of bad art, this was terrible. I felt like, and I don't know about you, but I was reading this and I'm like, who's the artist on this? And I was actually upset by the fact that this is Derek Robertson. I'm an artist I'm actually a really big fan of. This does not look like his usual work. So I don't know what the fuck's going on
Yeah.
here. Like, I don't know if it's the inker or this is rushed or the colorist. It's just, I didn't even know this was his stuff, to be honest with you, because this does not look like Derek Robertson. They have his name on the artist at the end of this issue, and I was like, what the fuck? I don't know. I thought this was bad art personally. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought the art was very lacking, but this is Tom King, right? The same guy that's doing
No,
Dark
Tom
Knight.
Taylor.
Tom
Yeah,
Taylor, sorry.
yeah.
And freaking the story rescues like this story is so good you don't even need art, really. Like you don't need great art to go with it. If it had great art, this would be epic.
Right.
Like, it's just another Elseworld, where you're just seeing all these characters that you like seeing and just sort of different versions of them where they're tweaked. And
Mhm.
like even what's that Jay Nakamura character that everybody loves. He shows
Yeah.
up in this one, and like, he shows a great purpose. I was great seeing him in this series,
Mhm.
and just everything, like it's all those things because because I guess the big thing he didn't know who to trust and what's he gonna do, and he goes, oh, I know who to go to, and then when he goes to him, it's like, oh fuck, makes perfect sense that he would go to him there. And it's just
Mhm.
stuff like that's really good, and then all the stuff where he's talking with Nightwing and trying to tell him that, hey, I know you and stuff like that. And, Lex Luthor and all that stuff is great.
I agree. I mean, Tom Taylor is the one that cut his teeth on writing Injustice, the tie-in video, the comic that was the tie-in to the video game when he kind of started working for DC. And just like the stuff that he's doing with Injustice World in this miniseries, that he's now kind of bringing more into the main DC universe stuff that he's been doing, but still kind of referencing it as a multiverse essentially. Is yeah. I mean, again, this is why this guy does these Elseworld type stories. He's the best at them. I think
Yeah.
this is just he loves working in this playing in this sandbox. Like he's done lots of great Injustice stories that I've read in the past, and this is just another example, like you said, just like the Dark Knights of Steel, just like the Deceased books, these out continuity type stuff with multiverse stuff where there's no holds bars, like consequence type shit that can go on, and he can show you different versions of these characters, but yeah, at the core, he still really gets these characters. Yeah, he excels at it, and I've been enjoying this miniseries. But the art was just, I did not like the art on this issue. It dragged it down for me, and it's just a shame because I'm a big fan of Derek Robertson normally. But yeah, anyways, what'd you give this out of 5?
Yeah, I'll give it a 4. I thought the story is great. And I can get by on the art, like at least for who's who. It's not like you're who's that. But
Yeah.
I think it's a great story. Surprisingly to me, because I'm not a big fan of John Kent.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I gotta stick to my guns. I gotta give it a 3.5 because of the art on this one. But I think story, like I would go like with the rating you're giving it. Like I would have to give it 4 plus even, because I've been really enjoying this miniseries and I like Tom Taylor. And I like John Kent, but I didn't like his last series that he did with him so much. So I was happy to see that he's kind of coming back and doing this mini series featuring some more of the stuff that I feel like is in line with stuff of his I enjoy. So yeah, really good
Yeah, I
stuff.
can't see how DC wants like John Kent to be. They want to try and get rid of all these legacy heroes and have these new ones rise up, and then they put some coloring book artist or something on this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
no, it's
figure
true.
if they want to kind of raise up the
I,
stock of these new guys, they put some top talent on there, or at least some good talent.
Well, I think the first 3 issues were done by a different artist, and I think it was much better than this. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think this may be the fill-in issue. This is the first issue where they have a different artist. So I don't know if the other guy couldn't get it to get the pages in time, but I hope this guy doesn't do the rest of the series because
Yeah, like you said, maybe the color or something, but it's just something was off. Like it seemed very
yes,
bland. Let's say.
yeah, which is again weird. I like this guy's work usually. All right, and our last book of the night here, the one we normally try to finish off on, is usually a Spider-Man related book. And Spider-Man 9 came out this week, which is, I guess, the second issue of this new arc past the end of the Spider-Verse. And for anybody that didn't hear so far, yeah, I got my issue right here too. I think they just announced that Dan Slott is once again, since he's already gone back to the well with Spider-Man, and he already went back to the well on Edge of Spider-Verse. End of the Spider-Verse stuff. He's
Oh yeah,
apparently going back to the well once more, and he's going to be doing a Superior Spider-Man book in September. Which, listen, I mean, Superior Spider-Man era with Dan Slott was my favorite part of his run, honestly, but I just you got to come up with something new, bud. Like, how many times are you gonna like rehash these ideas? I might check that out. Don't get me wrong, but like,
was
because
that
I
like a
like.
mini series that's going to kind of like flesh out something that happened back in the day, or is this something new that's happening here?
I I don't know. I actually didn't read into it that much. All I saw was a headline saying that Dan
Yeah,
Slott's doing a new Superior Spider-Man, and that's enough for me to comment on it as much as I'm doing right now by saying, like, dude, you gotta like come up with some new Spider-Man shit if you're gonna be writing Spider-Man. It's like now it's like everyone just wants him to play the hits or something. Like it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. This is the things we talked about the first time you did this stuff with Spider-Man. You don't have to. You just did Spider-Verse. Now he's gonna do Superior Spider-Man again. Like these are all the things that were the most successful parts of his Spider-Man run. Whether or not you like Dan Slott, those were his most successful moments. Was Spider-Verse and fucking Superior Spider-Man. And now, literally, he's going to have been doing both within the last year or two when there's already another good ongoing Spider-Man series out. It doesn't make any sense to me, but okay.
that
I'm
Spider
just
Verse
saying.
stuff that was brutal. Like the one that he
I
just put out here at the beginning of this.
no, I know. Anyways, what did you think of this issue?
I thought this was a great issue. A good freaking straight up Spider-Man story.
Yeah,
I'm liking Spider Boy even. It got me to like Spider Boy. I like that dinner at Aunt May's house. It reminded me, of the whatever amazing one of the Spider-Man movie scenes. And then with Norman Osborn coming to the door, I'm almost starting to buy into this Norman Osborn being a good guy. I'm still not too sure about J. Jonah Jameson knowing that Peter Parker is Spider-Man and how that fits in. But seeing kind of J. Jonah Jameson kind of talking to Norman Osborn saying, "Hey, you better be freaking on the up and up." I thought that's different, but it's still good. I liked uh I liked Electro going to rob the bank and he freaking gets through and he goes, "What the hell? What am I going to freaking do with all this gold?" He can't carry any of it. You see him just walking out with like 4 bars of gold because that's all they could carry.
mm-hmm.
And the other thing, whatever this super spider sense, I'm not too keen on this being a plot point, but hey, if it's getting us this story, I'll buy it for now.
I thought this was a good issue as well. Yeah, I was surprised. And this is another book. I believe this is the last issue I pre-ordered because apparently I just cancel things when they get good. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
no, I mean,
the second good issue out of what, 9 issues?
I know. I've been struggling with this title for a while, and now it looks like finally it's going to turn a corner. So we'll see. But this was a good issue. I like you said, I think my favorite part of this issue was the Norman Osborn stuff with the family and with Jay Jonah. That was interesting. The conversations that they had because again, the histories that these people have with each other, and again, somebody who's written Spider-Man as much as Dan Slott knows all this, and it's really almost him kind of coming in on the current events of the Spider-Man stuff happening in the main book and kind of commenting on all that and these interpersonal relationships of these characters currently, right? And I think it's very interesting stuff, and I think it's
And
good
wasn't like
Bagley.
Joe Roberts in there too, saying, "Hey, I was
Yeah,
good friends with this Gwen Stacy family. I know what you did to
yeah,
her."
yeah. And
It's
he's
kind
like,
of
well, and he's like, well, haven't you and Tombstone made up? What the
yeah,
fuck, right? He's like, yeah. So like,
yeah. They
yeah,
had answers to all that too. So that's kind of why
there's
Norman
just
Osborn grew on me.
that's what I mean. There's just so much history with these characters to comment on. With that, to not to do this kind of stuff would be crazy, right? So like, he's kind of making good use of all the the history of these people, right, and their relationships with one another. Good stuff. Yeah, this is really well done, this issue, and I think it's good Bagley art in this one too. So,
Yep, I'm
yeah,
liking that too. Like I
yeah.
said,
What you
when
give
he's
it?
got a smaller number of characters to focus on, he does a lot better job. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll give this a 4 for sure.
Yeah, I give it a 4 as well. Yep. All right, guys. So that's gonna do it for the stuff that we read this week. Unless there's anything I missed of yours, Chris. You got everything there? Or?
No, I think that was it. Oh,
Okay.
did you read that mutant strike?
Which one?
The mutant strike or something? I think it's one of the fall
No,
of
I did.
the early fall
I,
of the thing there.
no, I didn't
I forget
read
what it
it.
was called, but I gave it a quick read. It was not too bad. There's I guess it's the beginning of the downfall of the mutants there. That Orcus they orchestrate some town to blow up, and then it's just a whole bunch of stuff there. They all the X-Men kind of come in, and they're all dressed in white and red X suits because they're there as helpers there. But the Orcus sort of blames this whole city blowing up on the X-Men. It kind of reminds me of the beginning of Civil War. Where
Okay.
the town blows up and freaking, everybody's kind of weighing in on what happened.
Hmm.
Not a bad read.
Okay.
You get a chance to read it.
Is this setting up some of the events of the end of the X-Men stuff?
I think it's
Or
setting up the fall of X stuff.
yeah. Okay, maybe I'll check it out then. I did see it out there, but yeah. Okay, cool. Did you want to rate it or what?
Yeah, I'll rate it whatever, 3.75 or whatever.
Okay. Let's see. What are you gonna be picking up or checking out next week, Chris?
Well, next week it's a small week. And really no big one big title, Amazing Spider-Man 727. See what's happening there. I think they're starting the new arc. I'm getting Black Panther #1 because they had a nice variant cover. And Captain Marvel 50. I don't even know where that story's at anymore, but I guess it's the end of the run there, so I figured I'd pick that up. I think I
Yeah.
might read Wolverine 34 online, Clobbering Time online. I'll probably read the Cold War Omega and see how that all wraps up. And I don't know, there wasn't much else I saw out there. Maybe the Superman Lost 4, I think, is out.
Mm-hmm.
Might give that a read too.
Yeah, I mean, I got Amazing Spider-Man. What is it? Oh, am I looking at the right week? No,
47.
wrong week. Sorry. Peacemaker tries hard number. No, I'm looking at July. Oh, what the fuck. Sorry, guys. I jumped ahead here. I had my another date on my list here. 1 second. Okay, so yeah, June 14th. This is week of June 14th. Yeah, so Amazing Spider-Man 27, Clobbering Time 4, Doctor Strange 4, Giant Cockchew #3. Got to check
Oh, I'll
that
read
out.
that for sure.
Last issue
Right.
of that. And yeah, not much else actually. That's the only issues I'm picking up physically are just that 4. I don't think any DC next week.
Yeah, there's nothing in
Um,
DC, like even to read.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to look at things I read digitally here, trying to see if there's anything that catches my eye. But no, I don't even read Superman Lost. So yeah, no to all that. You mentioned a couple of things there I might read digitally as well. There though, what else? Image? Anything Image here? I'm trying to look. Just the giant cockshoe, I guess. I might read Old Dog #5, maybe. Oh, Void Rivals #1 comes out next week, which is the new Robert Kirkman book. So I'm going to check that one out digitally. That's the new Robert Kirkman book. Definitely going to check that out. And then, yeah, Marvel Comics stuff, not much. I'm going to read either Captain America Omega because, I've read everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be about it, though, man. Like, we'll see what else happens. Oh, Rogue and Gambit 4, which I guess because it's such a light week, I'll continue reading.
I'll probably read that too.
Yeah, just
It's a
because it's
good
a light
looking
week.
comic, but hopefully the story picks up.
Yeah, we'll see. And then yeah, I'll probably check out Wolverine 34 as well. But yeah, that's about it, man. That's later week as well next week. But we're getting to a couple of big ones, I think, at the end of this month. So
Yeah.
we'll let you guys know when that's gonna happen. Okay, Chris. Your favorite book of the week though. What
I
was
don't
that? This
know.
is a tight week. This is a tight week for me, honestly.
This is a tight week.
This is my four contenders. I'm gonna tell you guys right now.
Oh, here.
X-Men.
Well, this is. I'll just show you the
Oh,
Power Girl
nice.
cover from last week because I just got the issue in, and I started trim variants.
That is a nice one. Yeah, I saw that. Very nice. There also was like a foil, like shiny one of that. Did you see that? It was like
Are those foil ones? Are they like freaking like $50 or something? Or how do those foil
no,
covers work? Like,
no.
yeah,
I think
are they like variant covers? You just got to order them. There might be a couple bucks more. Is that it?
exactly. I think it's like the cardstock ones. Like they're a couple bucks more or whatever. But
Maybe I'll
yeah,
try and order a foil cover once in a
so
while.
it's between these four for me, honestly, guys. Spider-Man,
Yeah.
X-Men, Peacemaker tries hard, and Batman. This is it's like it's really close this week. But if I had to pick one out of here, let's see. I'm gonna say no to X-Men. I'm gonna say no to Spider-Man. It's between Batman and Peacemaker tries hard. And guys, I gotta go with Peacemaker tries hard. Number two, I gotta go with this one because like this gave me the laughs as well this week. So I had to give it up to this one. And yeah, this I really enjoying this book. But these are all really good issues this week. And you know, Spider-Man was unexpected. Batman's usually pretty solid, and so is X-Men. But this Peacemaker tries hard. I'm really enjoying this one. And again, Kyle Starks. I'm a big fan of his stuff, and I think he mixes the good action and humor and everything else. Like I think this is a good version of the character. If you're a fan of the show, definitely you should be checking this book out. Chris?
Ooh, I don't know. I think I might give it to X-Men.
Yeah, yeah. I
Love
it
that
was in the
cover.
it was in the
Couple
running.
people in there. You know, it was that, or even Immortal X-Men was in the running. You know, the Spider-Man, that was a good comic, but the only reason that was good is because everything else has been so shit. So I didn't want to give it to that.
This was a good week. I think we needed this because it's been a while. I think since we got the as good of a week as we did this week in
Yeah,
terms
for
of
sure.
like,
This was like I was happy reading all the comics I was reading.
yeah, and such a big week. Like there's like 18, 20 comics I think we talked about collectively this week. So yeah, the hit rate for a week this big after not having the last maybe couple stellar weeks as weeks have not been that stellar. Kind of like a mixed bag, if anything. This was a really good one. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna do it for now. I will be back in the studio next week. I'll be back from being on location here. So I hope you guys all are well out there. And Chris, thank you as always, man. We'll see you
All right,
next week.
cheers.
Later,
Enjoy
guys.
your time out there. Stay safe.
Yes.
Watch those fires.
Yeah, exactly. Later, guys.
Later.